would like to make a few comments concerning the difference between the Black Revolution and the Negro Revolution. There's a difference. When you study the historic nature of revolution, the motive of a revolution, the objective of a revolution, and the result of a revolution, and the methods used in a revolution, you may change words. You may devise another program. You may change your goal and you may change your mind. Look at the American Revolution in 1776. That revolution was for what? For land. How was it carried? Why did they want land? Independence. How was it carried out? Bloodshed. Number one, it was based on land. The basis of independence. And the only way they could get it was bloodshed. The French Revolution. What was it based on? The landless against the landlord. What was it for? Land. How did they get it? Bloodshed. Was no love lost. Was no compromise. Was no negotiation. I'm telling you, you don't know what our revolution is. Because when you find out what it is, you'll get back in the alley. You'll get out of the way. The Russian Revolution. What was it based on? Land. The landless against the landlord. How did they bring it about? Bloodshed. You haven't got a revolution that doesn't involve bloodshed.
Thank you for coming out. My name is Talib, Brother Talib. I'm originally from Burlington. I reside, I'm domiciled right now in Stratford, New Jersey. It's near Camden. Thank you for coming out once again. This is the lecture on Benjamin Bannaker and slash Masonry, Sufism and Masonry. What I want to do, first of all, before we start, this is when we have pretty much actually get a clean. Before we start, we always bless the ancestors. Libations. For those who don't know, libation is something that we did prior, we always did. And this is the same time or same thing as you looking at your mother's picture. If your mother passed away, if your father passed away, if your uncle passed away, any family member, you may just reminisce, you may just think about, just to remember, you know, because scientifically, it's proven fact that inside your blood is the same genetic makeup that's inside the family members that came before. So, but how you flip it, how you toss it, whatever, you are a composition of your family tree. You know what I'm saying? So, whatever attributes, you know, your great grand uncle had, you might have. So, we do this in remembrance and saying, we recognize where we come from. So, as we do this, I should, for those explaining, I pour water into this earth tree here, and I call out maybe a remnants of a hero or a past family input. Anybody? I'm gonna start it off. Actually, I'm starting with Uncle Jay. Uncle Jay. Malcolm X. Ashe. See inside me? Uncle's love me. Ashe. See inside me? Ashe. Shake on me, Ashe.
Ashe.
Hannibal Barker.
Ashe.
Gerald Thomas. Ashe.
Ashe.
Benjamin Bannaker.
Ashe.
Michael Muhammad.
Ashe. Ashe.
Edward Span.
Ashe. Ashe. Wallace Muhammad. Ashay. Ashay. Elijah Muhammad.
Ashay.
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 Every time, Ashay. Malcolm X, Ashay, once again. Ashay. Deuce Muhammad Ali. Ashay. Ashay.
Charlie Weaver, my grandfather.
Okay.
Ashay.
Ashay.
Adelaide Jackson.
Ashay.
Fred Hampton.
Ashay. Clarence Parker the first. Ashay.
Dr. Amos Wilson.
Ashay.
Dr. Amos Wilson.
Ashay.
Dixon Day.
Ashay.
John Henry Clark.
Ashay.
Dixon Day.
Ashay. Okay. Three Ashay. 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 Thank you very much. Appreciate that. All right. Since we started on our people time, I say our people time. I'm gonna go ahead and get into it. The brother I'm about to introduce is a brother I met in Professor Kareem at a Father's Day event that we had earlier this year. It was definitely a wonderful event. Those who came out. At that time, I was looking for something spiritual to add on to the knowledge, because you have a lot of knowledge, and if you don't have nothing spiritual to back it up, your knowledge is dead, because you don't have enough force to move it about and make it physical. Someone told me one day that actually, you said this one time, you heard that someone with a lot of knowledge and no discipline is a beast. And pretty much, if you don't have spirituality, which requires discipline, all the knowledge, you have all knowledge in the world, but if you don't have the discipline of spirituality, then pretty much it's a real knowledge piece. We out of control. Being that we're in this Moorish Renaissance and this Moorish paradigm that's now awakening within this area and all other areas, you have a lot of brothers out there doing work, promoting the information, putting out whether it be DVDs, literature, or however, YouTube. One thing that hasn't really been totally touched on is our ancestors and what they truly practiced and what they knew. If you go into the history books and you read about the actual what they done or what they practiced, their form of Islam, it wasn't like the conventional Islam you see. It was very spiritual. It was very in touch to who they were. They did not go into just your average rigorous religion, but embedded inside the walls of Islam, or in what you call the outer shell, it was something special. And they touched into it, and they became it. And this is what powered them to take over or rule the domain and rule their dominions over Europe, over here, Africa, wherever they stretched. It was that fervor inside of that fire that they knew, and it was from their spirituality. Now, some call it Sufism, but it's even more. It's beyond even the word. It's something that who we were prior to even coming to in physical manifestation, because the route was to get back to that. So what I'm gonna actually read it. Prove my point. I'm gonna read something and then I'm gonna introduce the word, just to prove my point what I'm talking about. I'm gonna be real brief with this. Okay. I'm gonna find a point. All reading actually from Manly P. Hall, The Adepts in the Eastern Esoteric Tradition. This is Mystics of Islam. So anybody can go on Amazon, you can Google this book, and you can actually get this. Sometimes it'll come in this form, and sometimes it'll come in a larger form, depending on how the publisher puts it out. We're going to read from page 5 of this book, and I'm going to read Jabir and Avicenna are referred as the adepts of the stone, and numerous truth seekers journey to near East and North Africa to study the famous masters of the law of Islam, and there seems to have been a comparatively little prejudice among these settlers, and they return in due time to their European homes with extraordinary reports of the wisdom and liberality that they had encountered in the schools and universities of Cairo, Baghdad, Damascus. Well, keyword they said, well, phrase North Africa and that part. And you know that the wars were in North Africa. And they came there, the Europeans came to learn from the teachings. They learned how to channel themselves, or how for these great masters, these great teachers. And it was pretty much through, you can see it embedded in a lot of other religions and stuff, modern day religions. You can see the elements of that Islam that we practice. And it's in that key. You see even with the rosary beads, they do. When we do the zikr, we do a remembrance, we remember through the phrases, we remember, and we begin to pull up from ourselves that which is within through our zikr. You see, but see, the Catholics do the rosary as well. But see, I bet you about now there wasn't no rosary before they ran into wars. There was a lot of exchange at that time. So page 10, then I'm going to introduce the brother. One quick phrase sentence. They reveal the indebtedness of the same essential sources of knowledge that enriched Greece, Egypt, and the valley of the Euphrates, Samaria. Okay, I'll just read that one sentence. And this is talking pretty much about the Muslims at the time, our people, and what they reveal from Egypt. Same stuff you get from Plato or whatever, or those type of people. But the thing what it's saying is that they reveal the same depths. Now, if you go into Stone Legacy, George and James talks about how the Moors were the caretakers and supervisors of Egypt, or Kemet. In this book here, this is Egyptian mystics, the seekers of the way. Okay, this book in here talks about Sufi, talks about how through this author that supposedly it came out, it's the same knowledge, the same lessons, the same thing. They were just embedded within Islam through their invasion. So they had to take what they knew from Egypt, because they didn't want nobody else taking it out. So okay, we need another paradigm to put it in, so we can move out with it. So this pretty much this book talks about this is a real good book. Matter of fact, Mustafa Badala is actually author, deep brother. He has very, very insightful stuff. Actually, he's from Kenya, born in Kenya. So he has an insightful knowledge of Kenya. And just that he has this book is definitely worthwhile. So if you can get this Egyptian mystics, you'll understand the history, or just that insight, his insight in Sufism and the origin and what it entails, and see how it links back to Kenya. So it's nothing too far.
Give us the name of that book again, please.
Yeah. All right. Egyptian Mystics, Seekers of the Way by Mustafa Badala.
Spelled G-A-D-A-L-L-A.
Yes. All right. With no further ado, I'm gonna bring a very dear man to me, brother Ashley. I'm gonna bring myself up here to talk to you. My higher self, where I'm gonna go at one point in the show.
Peace and blessings and light be upon all of you. My name is Sufi, and I was surprised surprised when the brother asked me to speak on masonry and Sufism. This could be a seminar the last 2 weeks, but we're anxious to see Brother Dr. Ali Muhammad, so I'm going to try to make it 15 minutes or less. Because I know from what he's prepared, it's going to be done. So, Masonry and Sufism. First of all, I want to clear up one thing. Masonry is not a secret society. People think Masonry is a secret society. Masonry is not a secret society. It may be a society with secrets. One reason you know it's not a secret society is because they have a building with a sign outside. The true secret society does not have a building with a sign outside saying we meet here. The true secret society does not have an emblem on the back of their car driving down the street saying I'm in this secret society. So when people say Masonry is a secret society, they really have no clue what a secret society is. So that's the first myth I want to break up. Okay? Now, the true teachings of the Masonic Lodge come out of the ancient Egyptian mystery system, which was in Kemet. And the system that they have today is just a watered down version of what we had in the temples in Kemet. Today, in the Masonic Lodge, you can become a Master Mason in maybe 3 to 4 months. Master Mason simply means you have a first degree that's known as Entered Apprentice. You have a second degree that's called a Fellowcraft. Then you have the Master Mason degree, which is the third degree in Masonry. And you can become this in less than a year. But in the ancient Egyptian mystery system, it took 7 years to get the first degree. 7 years to be an Entered Apprentice. 5 years for the Fellowcraft degree, and 3 years for a Master Mason degree. So how is it now you can become a Master Mason in less than a year, but in Egypt the first degree was 7 years. So you hear a Mason say, I'm walking in 3, 5, and 7 steps. He actually has no clue of what he's talking about. Because these numbers really represent the original time it took in Kemet to get the degrees. Okay? So, what is we can talk about a lot in Masonry. First, I want to, another myth. People say there's 32 degrees in Masonry. That's false. In the Masonic Lodge, once you get to the 3rd degree, you can go on the left-hand side and go up the York Rite and get up to the 28th degree, or you can go on the Scottish Rite side and go up to the 32nd degree. So if you're at 28 and 32, how many degrees is that?
60.
Okay, so now, on each side of these, you go up the York Rite to 28, or you go up the Scottish Rite, the right side, to the 32nd. Then you can go into what's called the shrine. You have to go up to the top of either side to go into the shrine. Once you go into the shrine, guess what they teach you? Islam. Once I talked to a Shriner, and I saw the brother, he had a white guy with a fez on. I walked up to the old man and said, Assalamu alaikum. He said, you speaking my language. He said, you speaking my language. And I'm like, your language? Au contraire, mon frère. So, the most secret book in the shrine is the Holy Quran, and they open their meetings with Al-Fatiha, the first chapter of the Quran. And actually, Assalamu alaikum is a secret password for the Shriner. So you can greet one of these guys, black or white, with that greeting, and he may think you're in the shrine. So, then after this, they have what's called the 33rd degree. The 33rd degree is a degree that you cannot pay for, because each degree costs money. So, the 33rd degree is what they call an honorary degree, where they have to pick you to join this council. Okay, so as they say, Big Brother is watching. So they watching you in the lodge to see if you can go to this 33rd degree. So, but actually, the most important degrees in Masonry are the first 3 degrees. not a secret. If you know what you're looking for, you can go down to any library and get the Masonic degrees in the library if you know what you're looking for. It's not a secret. What is the goal of the Mason? Does anybody know? What does he say is his goal? He's seeking more light. In the Masonic Lodge, they have what's called a square and a compass. And the seventh letter G. What's interesting is the square looks like this, right? And the compass looks like this, right? Hold on. The squares,
compass.
it's like, yeah, like this. The squares on top and the compass on the bottom. But what I'm trying to get at, these are Arabic numbers. This is a 7, and this is an 8. And when you put this in the middle, it's like the number 6 in the middle for G. So if you take 7, 8, 6, and put it in Arabic, you come up with the numerological number for Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim, which is the opening of the Quran. So the Masonic lodges used to have these symbols, the square and the compass and the G, on their lodges, and they're really practicing Islam in secret. Because it's like they put Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim on all their lodges. And he even addresses that in this book. If you want to read books on real masonry, you have to find books by Manly P. Hall, or it's a book called Morals and Dogma by Albert Pike, but you'll never see it in a library or a bookstore. This is where you can get to some real stuff. So the goal of the Mason is actually to overcome his earthly nature, his lower self, which is represented by the square, to manifest his higher self, which is represented by the compass, so that he can become God. This is the goal of the Mason. And in the ancient Egyptian mystery system, they had what's called the Ka and the Ba. And in the ancient Egyptian book of Coming Forth by Day, or what they call the Book of the Dead, it says in the book that when the Ka, the individual soul, and the Ba the Ka is represented by 2 arms, and the Ba is represented by a bird. The Ka represents your individual soul, and the Ba represents the universal spirit. And in the Egyptian Book of the Dead, it said when the Ka and the Ba merge, man and God are one and the same. And then in Islam, we have the Ka, Ba, and Mecca. If you put some of these things together, you will see that Masonry is nothing but watered down Islam. Masonry is watered down Islam. And Sufism is the esoteric teaching inside of Islam. So really, if you're practicing the true Masonry, you're practicing Sufism, because the goal of the Sufi is to manifest Allah before leaving the body. And this is done by fighting an internal jihad on the plane of soul first, and then on the plane of spirit, because we all know time never was when man was not, and man is the thought of Allah conceived in flesh, which is an eternal being. What I'm saying is, all of us in here are eternal beings of light having human experiences. We're not human beings. Me, I will never die, and I don't have a birthday. I'm a light being manifest in this body. Actually, this is a holograph because it's all an illusion, and Allah is the only reality. So in Sufism, we learn how to transcend the lower self and go into the divine self known as the higher self, which is Allah in man. But actually, I'm going to tell you something, there is no spoon. There is no spoon, which means all this is illusion. Allah, the higher self, is the only being that exists. It's very mystical. Where's the closest place to meet Allah? In the heart. So, the way of the Sufi is to take some type of meditation, some type of chant, to transcend the body, just like they say Jesus died on the cross, which is a lie because Jesus never died. This represents us dying to the physical plane. The cross represents north, south, east, and west. So we all carry this cross of the body. This is not me. This is the clothes I'm wearing. I'm a light being having a human experience, and I'll never die. So, even the Bible says I die daily so that Allah might live through me. So the Sufi is one walking on a path who's doing the internal jihad against his lower nature so that Allah in the heart may shine through him. And then Allah says in the hadith, when he loves someone, he becomes the eyes they see with, the mouth they speak with, the ears they hear with, he hears with, the hands he grasps with, and the feet he walks with. The 5% call him God body. My mind was raised in Asia. What I say might just amaze you. My first school of thought was the 5% nation of gods and earths. Then we traveled through the Moorish Science Temple and some other exoteric schools until we were found by a high master walking on the earth in Tuba, West Africa, in Senegal. My master is the highest master on the planet Earth. In this time period, he got over 9 million disciples. And when I tell you, I'm talking right now, and he can hear everything I'm saying, that he's sitting in West Africa, this is Allah on the earth. This is something very rare. But in Hinduism, they call it an avatar. So in Hinduism, it's not rare. So, this way of the Sufi is very, very beautiful. The Honorable Noble Drew Ali, what he actually brought in 1920, and what Honorable Elijah Muhammad was actually teaching, was Sufism in that time period so that the people at that level of mentality could comprehend these higher concepts. So, in 2008, I want to do what Noble Drew Ali did. I want to do what Honorable Elijah Muhammad did. And I definitely want to do what Harriet Tubman did because I'm free. I've been to Africa 8 times. I could have lived over there and never came back. But what do? We come back for other Asiatics. And we try to teach this way of Sufism, which is self-realization of Allah in man before leaving the earth. Does anybody have any questions? No questions, because I'm finished. We gotta get to Brother Dr. Ali Muhammad.
Any questions about Sufism?
We have a Sufi school in Philadelphia. It's very underground. You will not see flyers or business cards or website because the mainstream Muslims do not like Sufis. They used to kill Sufis. Why? Because we don't believe in no mystery God. We don't believe Allah's in the sky. Yeah, they still do. That's why some things I won't even say on the tape. All praises due to Allah.